Jai Hind. I am Brigadier Advitya Madan. Today, let's discuss as to how the American corn is proving to be a thorn in our flesh when it comes to the ongoing trade deal with USA. The world average yield of maize is 6 tons per hectare, whereas the yield of maize in USA is 12 tons per hectare, and in India it is 4 tons per hectare. Just to recap, 1 hectare is 2.47 acres. The reasons for more yield in USA is the capitalist farming, which means high level of mechanization with big machines, mass production, wage labor to meet the main goal of huge profit. In USA, the families have a very large land holdings to the tune of 500 acres per family compared to India's average of just 1 acre per family. In India, it is subsistence farming. That is, maize is grown mainly for the family's use. The dominant cash crops in USA are corn and soybean. The USA produces 350 million tons of corn each year. Out of 350 million tons, USA exports 45 million tons. The maize is not much consumed by Americans, but used only to make high fructose corn syrup, ethanol production, to make plastic, animal feed, and for what they called CAFO, that is concentrated animal feeding operations. Basically, it is the corn eaten by cattle for slaughter. India doesn't want to import maize from USA as it is genetically modified. India till now allows only genetically modified cotton cultivation, whereas the genetically modified brinjal and genetically modified mustard cultivation are still being verified and investigated scientifically. India's contention is that the genetically modified corn will be toxic and will cause many diseases if it enters the food chain. India consumes maize as a food for human consumption, as a feed for the poultry and other livestock. And recently, maize is being used to manufacture ethanol for the ethanol blended petrol. What USA is eyeing now in India is the corn required by us for ethanol blending. Another important point to note is that the corn and soybean are grown in Midwest of USA, mainly in Iowa, which is Republican heartland and forms the core of the Trump's voter base. We should not forget that Iowa will be the first state to hold the presidential primaries in June 2026, and their corn lobby wields considerable power in the USA politics. China has stopped importing soya from USA this year and has switched its dependency from USA to Brazil, which has already caused alarm bells in USA. Out of India's total production of 50 million tons, 10 million tons will be used for ethanol production. This year, India had a bounty crop. Hence, there was no need to import maize. But last year, we imported 1 million ton maize for ethanol production, which came 60% from Myanmar and 40% from Ukraine. We'll take an example of Mexico. When North American Free Trade Agreement was signed in 1990, Mexico had to import massive amounts of cheap USA corn. It drove more than a million Mexican farmers out of business. They had to take up employment as factory workers in USA. Now, certainly we don't want this to happen in India. We should not forget that the USA corn price is 70% of Indian price, which is quite cheap. If we open our markets to cheap maize imports from USA, our farmers will get affected, especially in Bihar and other states where many farmers have taken to maize recently. This is the precise reason India doesn't want this thorn in its flesh. Thank you, and please subscribe to my channel of To the Point to stay abreast in geopolitics, or shall I say geoeconomics for the moment.